This episode of Mafia Family Ties is sponsored by Selena Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Welcome back to another episode of Mafia Family Ties. With me this time around, I have Nick Ryberg with Sojourn Travel Advisors, also organizer of the Buffalo Football Legends Cruise. Nick, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so let's just jump right in. So, lifelong Bills fan, favorite memory growing up, favorite player?
I would say, I go back to the 60s as a kid. So backyard football, we when we were getting into school, it was O.J. Simpson. I'm not as aged as like Jack Kemp in that era, but I think the Juice era was when it really started. The Electric Company, Reggie McKenzie, that whole crew.
The Electric Company.
Yeah. You remember that?
No.
What?
I do not remember that.
Yeah.
I'm aware of it, though.
That was the line, the Bills line, the nickname for him back in the early 70s. So, but yeah, I would say coming into the original Rich Stadium, as it was called, that became one of our backyard would become Rich Stadium. And the bushes on one side were the end zone and the pine trees were the other end zone. And so a lot of us tried to be, Jim Braxton, O.J. Simpson. Cookie Gilchrist was a little earlier. Joe DeLamalure and Joe D, Big Joe. So those were some of my earlier memories.
Do you have a specific earliest memory that really just sticks out to you?
One of the things that used to happen at our school, and the Bills did this back in the 70s, was they'd come to your high school and they'd play against, a group of Bills would come and play against the faculty at the high school as a benefit or a fundraiser.
Like football?
No, basketball.
Basketball.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
basketball. Yeah.
Maybe you said that.
I probably didn't. But there would be a charity basketball game of the faculty of the high school versus select Bills players. So that was, there's a couple memories that stick out from that. There was a kicker back in the 70s named John Leipold, straight on kicker for the Bills. And they would line up at mid-court in our high school basketball court and hike the ball, and John Leipold would straight on kick to try and get it in the net. He'd kick the basketball. So that was always fun to watch.
Legal?
It was just amazing. But we used to love to watch the Bills stomp our faculty on the basketball court. And then you see these guys as a kid, and it was just like, how does somebody get this large? I mean, there's an offensive lineman named, I think his name was Ken Jones. And the guy was probably 6'6", 280, which was huge back in the 70s. That's like one of the largest players in the league. And you see these guys standing there as a kid, it's unbelievable. So all those memories, those kind of distilled the love of the game and how nice these guys were to come out and do charity at our high school in their off season. So that was. It was a lot of, it was hard to watch games back then. We got 3 channels and then one in Canada with the antenna pointing north. And, they'd black games out if it wasn't sold out back then. So it was a little harder to watch. So a lot of our love of the Bills was through football cards and like some magazines and stuff we could read. So we would always kind of have drafts with football cards we were collecting of the players and everything. So it was a nice little foundation for us.
Yeah. That's a little bit before the Madden Ultimate Team, which people all do virtually through the Madden game. And
all I remember about John Madden was his coaching. So he's got into these video games. Yeah.
Yeah. I think actually my first 2 years of high school, I went to Kenmore East. I remember it was, I think it was after the 90 season. So it was probably spring of 91. I remember Pete Metzelaars, Steve Tasker, and I don't remember who else it was. It was there. I don't think it was Jim Kelly. Maybe it was. They came and played our faculty.
Oh, they did? Yeah, that's great.
So that happened as recently as 34 years ago.
Wow.
Maybe they did after that. But
I think they've pulled back on that pretty significantly just because of injuries and so forth.
Yeah,
but,
right.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, they did it for years, and it was really powerful for the just young kids.
Oh, yeah.
They're just loving it.
Because especially that age, a lot of kids don't get out to the stadium
exactly
to ever see the players play football. So to see them actually out there in real life and play a sport.
Exactly. And plus they're stomping your teachers too, which was just fun to watch.
So. Yeah, what student doesn't love that, seeing their teacher get owned?
Yeah. The other one I used to love too is Joe Ferguson, the old quarterback Fergie, they used to call him. I just remember my dad It's like, yeah, they just got to get rid of this guy. But he would always come through with something really good. So, but yeah, Fergie was one other one. If you were a quarterback, you were Joe Ferguson in the backyard.
Oh, yeah.
So
when I was in 4th grade, I was on a soccer team. I think it's called Sportsplex now. It was called Soccer World back then. And I wore number 12 because of Joe Ferguson.
oh wow,
Yeah,
that's
so,
nice. Yeah,
Then somebody else took that number over and made it his own.
yeah. I don't know who that was.
Yeah. So the stadium, you know, for as long as you've been a fan, it's gone through different eras, really. Are there any that really stick out to you that maybe is your favorite or maybe the most significant that you look back on?
Yeah, I mean, again, when it was rich in the early days, it was hard to get to. Like we didn't. If you got to a football game as a kid where I was from, it was Merry Christmas. You know, it was hard because it's, you know, it was getting a ticket and getting the time and getting your parents to take you there and everything. So it was a luxury to get to those games. But I think once it transitioned into the Ralph and it was that glory era, those were that was the fun. It really, things started to really get exciting, you know, with Jim Kelly coming to town and then the Bickering Bills and Thurman and
Not the Bickering Bills.
yeah, and then Marv coming in and it was like, oh, wow, this is getting serious. And thankfully in my corporate career, we were relocated back to Buffalo for that whole era. It was just amazing. So I lived up in Lewiston at the time, and I remember taking my father-in-law, who was a Giants fan, to the games, and we just had the greatest times to go. I remember watching Cornelius Bennett and Bruce Smith just throwing Joe Montana to the ground when he became a Chief, and it was
absolutely. That was the AFC
visual.
Championship, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Back when the Bills used to beat the Chiefs. In the
Exactly.
Hopefully this year, right? Hopefully this year.
Exactly.
That's awesome. How has the stadium experience changed? Because obviously there's the game that goes on the field, but there's so much more surrounding, physically and like just aesthetically and experientially around the stadium.
Yeah.
So how has that changed, do you think, from when you went there the first couple times as you know, as a luxury as a kid to through the Ralph era and then now into the Highmark Stadium era?
Yeah, actually, it's interesting you say this because, well, the physical aspects of the stadium have changed with all the additions and upgrades and the clubs and all that stuff. But the experience when I was a kid, I can remember my dad just talking about there's too many rowdy people, they're drunk and, you know, they're cursing in front of kids and everything. And I never really noticed any of this, but it's just my dad's filters, I guess. But now it seems more like fraternal almost. Everybody's more friendly now in the modern era, to me at least. My experience in the stadium, everybody's high-fiving. We're all kind of in this family. Thank goodness for the beginnings of Bill's Mafia and this feeling of family almost. And it wasn't that necessarily like that back then in the 70s, you know. So this is just to watch the evolution over the decades and how close it's become and how representative of the community it's become in terms of just helping each other and being one big family. And you can feel, for me, I can feel that even, you know, this season, the game I just went to and you know, the last few years, it's just such a better feeling in the stadium. And the upgrades make it a little more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, we're all family until it's time to leave the parking lots. Suddenly it's like every man for himself. And
Exactly.
you have to like give the dirtiest looks to somebody just to be able to get your car out. And but outside of that, it's great. The whole family.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
but
like
every family has that issue too, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Every fan base can kind of turn on it when the offense isn't doing something or the defense is letting some big guy run them over all night.
Fair.
So.
Yeah. So new stadium on deck.
Yes.
What's the one thing you would love to see changed from how the current Highmark Stadium is set up into our new home at Highmark Stadium?
When it was going through the planning phase, I was just perplexed why we didn't get a retractable dome. And to see fans have to shovel their way into their seat. I mean, it's interesting and fun, but really? I mean,
Yeah.
So I like the fact that it's still got some open air. Let's see how it goes with the bad weather games.
Yeah.
But, theoretically, it's supposed to mitigate some of that.
Yeah. All that talk of wind confusion and everything was such an interesting term.
Yeah. But I mean, that was a factor in the game. Even, in backyard football, that was a factor. It's blowing wind. And so I used to see this on the Bills field, how gusty it was and the ice and snow. And I remember just seeing all these games in my memory, like Shady McCoy on that one run he broke in the snow. And that just takes you to your childhood backyard football. But to have the engineering of the open air with what looks like some mitigation of, weather impact on the game will be nice.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how it happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Snow doesn't really always just fall straight down.
Right.
Right. And so it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. We'll all be experts, I'm sure, after just one season, because we can guarantee we're going to get.
Yeah. It'll be great if you can get in the stadium, right?
Right. Yeah. So, all right. So you have a little project you're working on, the Buffalo Football Legends Cruise. What kind of brought that idea to mind, and what do you think is really the most intriguing? What's most intriguing about it for the fan base?
Well, there's a lot of these going on. There's a lot of fan cruises that are going on. So we certainly don't have a corner on the market of it. And in our business, we try to do. We're a travel company. I mean, we try to do travel that's unique, though, for outside of these group cruises and group events. We try to do things that are more custom, interesting, immersive experiences for our clients all over the world. So they get to do something that you can't buy off a shelf. And we try to translate that into this. And this started a year or two, I can't remember, to be honest, a year and a half. I'm just averaging in my brain with seeing all these things happening out in the market. And one in particular was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan cruise. And it was on a celebrity ship, and we have a very close relationship with a lot of the large cruise lines. And I started talking to the rep at Celebrity, and I said, that looks amazing. And I'm thinking in my brain, well, that would be so cool to merge my personal love of sports and football and the Buffalo organization and my job. Like, I wake up happy every day, because in general, we sell joy. Like, we sell going out and experiencing really fun things in different parts of the world. But what a better way to honor the football legend of Buffalo and fun, enjoyable experience somewhere else in the world. So that's how it started formulating in our brains. And then I just kept digging in and looking for the blueprint. And we wanted to make it unique. We didn't want it to be, the hammer lot on a ship, which would be fun, I'm sure. But we wanted to make it accessible and honoring the legacy of Buffalo football. And so that's where the names came from, was Buffalo Football Legends. And then just the selection of personalities that we were just serendipitous getting Thurman on his 60th birthday week, which was actually after we signed Thurman. We found out. And it was like, whoa, it's your 60th. I remember Patty calling and saying, I forgot to tell you, it's Thurman's 60th birthday party during the cruise. And I thought she was going to cancel. And then she goes, oh, we can make it happen, but we got to get our family on board. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, we just try to keep building it.
Yeah. So it's May 10th to 17th.
Yep.
Sal Capaccio, myself, we're going to be parts of that cruise. Who else you mentioned Thurman. Who else is going to be part of that cruise?
Yep. So we got, we're absolutely honored and lucky to have you coming with us, because our mutual,
lucky to go on the cruise.
Our mutual friend we have now. I remember he called me. He goes, Del Reed is, and I said, I think I'm not sure, because I haven't lived here in 6-7 years in the region, and I haven't followed it in that much detail. But yeah, to get you was incredible when he called and said Del would be open to it.
Thurman.
Yeah. But then we got Thurman. Yeah. And so from Thurman, we had originally, because down where I live now, there's a massive Bills backer bar called Jimmy's Old Town Tavern. And Jimmy Cerrito grew up in Arcade, and he started this bar down in Northern Virginia, which we go to on Sundays.
Yeah, Jimmy's a legend down there.
He is big time, yeah. And you can get authentic Bills and Buffalo, Western New York experience at his bar every weekend. It's incredible. But Jimmy would have Butch Roll come in and do his little Butch Roll experience band and autographs, and Norwood would come in all the time, and I'd see these guys. So I started to kind of think, okay, this is the path of least resistance. So I got Butch on the phone, and Butch was like, yeah, I'd love to do this. I'm right down in Florida. It'd be easy for me to hop on the ship. So we got Butch, and then we got in contact with Scott Norwood, and I'm thinking, okay, Thurman, Norwood, Butch, we need some more legends. So Tasker was on my radar big time. And through a couple different contacts, we reached out. And then one morning I'm sitting in my car and my phone rings. Steve Tasker's number comes up. And so what's this all about? And we started talking about it. He says, this sounds awesome. Yeah, let's do this. And Fred Jackson was the other one we originally had. And Fred was all hyped up to do this, but he had this pretty serious personal situation that he just needed to manage. So I was really bummed he backed out. And then we thought who would be the next one in line. And we're trying, by the way, to get people that we feel are going to be a really good, engaging experience for the fans who love the legend of Buffalo football. And we want people, players and personalities we know that are solid people, good interactions with the fans will really help.
They're going to be with them for 7 days, right?
Well, actually 6. It says 7. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a long time to hang out. And so the next name that came up was Don Beebe. And I was like, oh, this would be amazing to get Don Beebe, because I have that vision of him hitting that ball out of Leon Lett's hand in the Cowboys Super Bowl.
I think he built a whole inspirational speech career out of that one play.
Right? House seriously. Of Speed, yeah. So Don Beebe, as soon as, the task is, once we started getting a core, the players text each other and they had their wives.
Oh, yeah,
is this guy? Who is this guy? Yeah. So, and then Beebe immediately accepted. So it rounded it out very nicely. So yeah, we got Thurman, Tasker, Beebe, Norwood, Butch, and you and Sal. Well, Sal was the first guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Sal's a natural for.
Yeah, and Sal, I love to listen to Sal when I was in my car coming to games, and when
he's got his own theme song.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah,
but Sal, I was messaging Sal on Facebook, and he got back to me right away, and he goes, "This is crazy because I love to go on cruises, and again, let's do something fun that matches this amazing legend." Yeah. So the lineup just kind of formed nicely into a group of people who have this love of the game, love of the institution in Western New York. We're amazing players and legends in their own right, and they're good people that the fans can have an amazing experience with, and we can be highly confident from a business standpoint that the product we're putting out is going to be a good experience for people, because it's an investment to do this. It's not, it's not $100.
It's not a flippant decision.
Yeah. I mean, it's a real vacation. It's an investment. Yeah. So,
very cool. Yeah. So, all right. So we're going to switch gears a little bit. Yeah. One thing we like to talk about on Mafia Family Ties is chicken wings.
Chicken wings.
So you grew up in Westfield?
Westfield, Chautauqua County.
All right, Chautauqua County. How are the wings out in Westfield that you remember compared to like maybe in the heart of Western New York, like Buffalo?
Sure.
No disrespect to Westfield. That is the heart of Western New York. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to have to plug for Westfield on this one.
Okay, let's go.
I'm sorry, Greater Buffalo, but there's a bar in Westfield, New York that has something called Bernie's. Bernie's, yes.
That's the name. That's the name.
That's the wing.
The wing. Tell me about it. This is all new information.
Hey, it's it would be a Bar Bill-esque wing, which is delicious, which is my standard. And we were out sampling this week. Yeah. Testing it out. But what a Bernie is they have an open grill in the kitchen, and they make the wing, baste it, throw it on the grill and get some marks on it, burns, and then they baste it again.
Okay.
So it's a
hot, medium, and mild though. It's not just like a char pit barbecue thing.
No. It's buffalo sauce, hot, medium,
Really?
mild. They've got all the flavors, but you can get it a Bernie style.
What's the name of that place?
Larry's Cantina.
Larry's Cantina. All right. I like how you said that with authority.
Right in the middle of town, and it's named after one of the Three Stooges, Larry Fine. So,
all right. Sounds good. All right.
But the Westfield experience is amazing. All right, and if you're ever down that way,
I'm not really, but I will be. I'll make a trip down there. That's not true. I got a buddy who lives in Westfield, so we visit now and then. Yeah, for sure.
No,
so,
and in the summers, it's really busy down there. They have every Friday night. It's called First Fridays, and you're allowed to take drinks out in the streets, and there's vendors everywhere.
Oh, wow. So open
really
container,
cool little experience. But everybody ends up getting wings at Larry's. So I would say that's my standard.
I'm
You're interested now, aren't you?
Well, yeah, because it's always like, not as bad, but it's always the same, spots that are named. Everybody argues. And I always say that when it comes to buffalo wings, you have, Buffalo and then like the rest of the country.
Yep.
And we're all arguing about like the top 1% of,
you spread out a little outside of the greater metro area, and there's some really nice little spots.
Wow, I am excited to check that out.
Check it out, man. I might get a free draft beer for saying this.
Yeah, so maybe. Who knows? All right, so going on with chicken wings. Would you have you mentioned how there's buffalo style, but do you have a favorite treatment to them, or is it just that way, or is there like a favorite kind of sauce?
Well, I mean, if I'm not getting a Bernie, which you got to get a Bernie how it comes, but if I'm up here, I usually go for extra crispy dry, and then I want to dip in the sauce.
Really?
Because I don't like it to get too soggy.
Okay.
All right. So, because
I go back and forth. Sometimes I get crispy, sometimes I get like really soggy.
Do you?
Yeah.
This is my complaint outside of Western New York. The wings everywhere I go are just too rubbery and soggy. So we want them. I want a little crispness in there. So to assure I get that, I usually order extra crispy naked.
Naked, all right.
And then dip it into the medium sauce.
So you're a control freak. I get it.
I'm a control freak on wings.
That's a good sign with the cruise, right? Yes. We know it's going to go well. So
hey, we're working on it. We got some things planned on that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So
I don't mind if they're soggy. Like, they have to be cooked. But like if they've been in the sauce for a bit, and they come out a little soggy, that's okay because that means it's been permeated.
Yeah. The other control freak thing on wings for me is flats.
Okay.
Yeah, drums are too unpredictable because they can be too big. It's almost like
variables.
a leg. Yeah, and I need a size requirement. So usually you're guaranteed that size requirement with flats. So flats, extra crispy, naked.
Yeah.
With some dipping sauce and blue cheese.
And if they're done well, you can just strip them too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And there's a little crunch to it.
Yeah, for sure.
See, I got you thinking now. You know what you're doing for lunch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Larry's Bernie's.
We'll do a little road trip. It's not that far, right?
It's not 45 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right. So in terms of consumption, what's the most wings you've ever had or you've ever seen eaten? Like, do you go all in? Like, I always say, like, I'm gonna have 5 or 6. Then I find myself like I ate like over half of the 20.
Yeah, I just like my limit's 10 or 15.
Yeah,
but we had some buddies just growing up. Speaking of childhood, and where we loved wings even back then. Mm-hmm. Like it was getting hot and heavy with wings back then too, and we would have contests to see who could eat the hottest wings, and it was just hilarious because teenage guys and young 20s guys and. We used to go to this one bar, and it was they called them double suicides.
Double suicides.
Yep. And I remember my buddy tried one, and he couldn't control his salivation for like 2 hours. He was just drooling.
I've been in that place where you're just like the whole time.
Like, wow, that was terrible. I'm glad I didn't eat that.
Oh, it's wild. It's wild. Well, where can people register for the cruise?
WGR 550, Odyssey /WGR 550 is the first spot to go. Mm-hmm. They have all the links there. We're partnered with them for promotions with Sal. So that's the first stop. They can go to sojourn-travel.com, and there's a group page there. Or they can text, if you can remember, 585-775-9952, and they'll get the event registration page sent to them immediately.
Nick Ryberg, Sojourn Travel Advisors. Thank you so much for the time. Yes. Really appreciate it. Go Bills.
Yeah, go Bills. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Register for the cruise.